This is KUGAN CASSIUS for Eiffel TV in association with Macklin's Gym Marbella, the headquarters of Frank Warren here. With me, I have father and son, Frank Warren and George Warren. Frank, how are you?
I'm fine, yourself?
Very well, thanks. George, you good?
Not bad at all.
Okay, so let's just jump straight to it. This all come about really from an interview I did with you last week, Monday or Tuesday, I believe, where you made some comments in the interview.
Called Eddie Hearn a liar.
You called Eddie Hearn a liar and made some comments relating to the agreement he has relating to Sky, box office, pay-per-view, etc. So since then, obviously you've seen my interview with Eddie Hearn from the other day. So
he's a liar. We proved he's a liar. I'll let George explain it first, then I'll give you my comments. He's lied all the way through. He's lied.
All right, George, I'm just going to tell you to break this down for me.
Simplistically as possible. So you have to start from the very beginning. This goes back to probably February around this time this year, February. We had to deal with a situation because continuously social media tweets, interviews with yourself, press conferences, etc., via Barry and Eddie Hearn from Matchroom, continuously discussed that they have exclusive pay-per-view on Sky and in the UK. Many times you had to deal with them to get to that system, to get to that functionality, and to take advantage of Sky customers being able to use Red Button to buy big events, which of course that ability to sell events on an instantaneous way, impulse buy, is obviously hugely important in boxing. You know, big time boxing. The old man's been doing it. I think he did the first one in '96 with Bruno McCall. It's always going to be a big thing to be able to do that. Various tweets are put out. I've shown them to you. I'm not going to keep going on them, but the important thing that everyone's got to remember here is that what's been said is that you have to deal with them to take advantage of Sky and Sky box office and Sky pay-per-view. You know, my favourite quote, which is just completely ridiculous, it's a ridiculous statement to say, came after the Brooke Gavin fight, where Eddie Hearn talked about Khan and Brooke, and Khan had to talk to Brooke, had to talk to them because they are the people that are exclusive to Sky box office. It's totally inaccurate. How do I know it's inaccurate? Myself and our deputy chairman, a chap called Gareth Jones, who comes from the mobile telecommunications background. He was the founding director of Orange Mobile, the CEO and the founder of 3 Mobile. Exceptionally intelligent man, knows his businesses inside out once he gets involved in them. And the most important thing for him on this perspective is he comes from a background of regulated industry. So mobile telecommunications, it's a regulated industry. So is broadcasting and platforms and subscription television. It's regulated. It's regulated by Ofcom. You know, everyone knows Ofcom. Ofcom's who you call if you don't like an advert, or you know, you can go to them with a complaint, or you don't like the pricing structure. And it's Ofcom's job not to protect Boxnation, not to protect Sky, not to protect promoters. Their job is to ensure that customers are given choice in content, in how to buy that content, how to see that content, how to view that content, and that everything is set fair and reasonably, and the marketplace does not become monopolised. So we wrote to Ofcom after several correspondence with Sky weren't really getting anywhere, to discuss with them about how Boxnation, as a broadcaster with a pay-per-view channel, we have a pay-per-view channel on 490, people can buy that for one-off events. Currently, if you are a Boxnation subscriber or have been a Boxnation subscriber, you can use Red Button functionality to buy events on the night. If you have, if you become a new customer, first thing you have to do is you sign up online first, which is always, you know, a bit of a pain in the arse for people to do for the first time. You know, everyone loves to be able to flick that red button to buy an event. That's one of the things that's so important, as I mentioned before. But because we have this technology available to us, and because we sit on the Sky platform, we sat down, met with Ofcom, who informed us that what we were telling them, and in particular the comments that were being made in public by Sky Sports supposedly exclusive content supplier of boxing content, were creating a distortion in the market. Now, this distortion can only be described as giving them authority and giving them a position of power. Two things. Firstly, if you're a fighter and you see those tweets or you're told these things at meetings, it makes it very clear from the outset, if it's not challenged, that you cannot earn the type of revenue offered by pay-per-view unless you're with Matchroom. Secondly, the experience for customers and our ability to then move forward negotiating for big fights that we want to deliver for our customer base makes it a lot more challenging. It's actually one of the reasons why I believe we didn't get the Mayweather-Pacquiao fight. Now, trying to keep this as short and concise as possible, but it is quite a long story, so you'll have to bear with me. We were then, after meeting with Ofcom, they set up a meeting with us and Sky. We met with Sky back in August this year. Various things were confirmed to us in that meeting, and various things have since been confirmed in writing, and I've shown you the emails. I won't start flashing them about, but you can confirm that you've seen the emails. Now, the two most important things that came out of that meeting were, number one, Matchroom do not hold exclusivity on Sky Box Office, and number two, we have been given and we are about to enter into commercial negotiations for a Sky Box Office event with Boxnation. Now, what in theory does that mean? A Sky Sports Box Office event is available on Channel 491. A Sky Box Office event with Boxnation will be available on 490. How you purchase that event will be exactly the same. That decision in being able to do that does not sit in power with Sky Sports nor with Matchroom. It sits with Sky Distribution. And it's a very important point because Ofcom, as I said, they regulate the industry. And one of the things that they regulate is because Sky have a dominant position in subscription television in this country, they have to ensure that their business shows separation within each category. What that kind of simplistically means is Sky Sports has to report for itself. No one from Sky Marketing or from Sky News or from Sky Commercial can tell Sky Sports what rights they want to do or who they want to do deals with. Sky Distribution, who own the customers of Sky platform, the 12 million customers that sit in there, and also who own the functionality to allow that instantaneous purchase for box office events, whether it's movie, sports, boxing, wrestling, that belongs to Sky Distribution. And that's really where we got to with them. Now, why is it important? Because what it allows us now to effectively do is to work in association with Sky, who, as I've said, we've met with on various occasions, myself and Gareth. They are very keen to hear what content we're going to put on. They're excited about it. They've seen the stable. I'm sure they took note of what we did on the weekend and saw a certain Billy Joe Saunders win that world title, and there's some big fights for him to involve in. And as a commercial entity, that's what they're interested in. It's in their interest to make money off of events, to sell those events to the people that sit on their platform. And that's where we've got to with them. We're in commercial negotiations to discuss our first date with them in 6 months, and I'm sure my dad will go into a bit more detail. So that's where we've got to as a business. Now, I mentioned it's important to us. It's important to us for a lot of reasons, but it's also important for our customers. Boxnation, obviously, is a subscription channel when we first launched. We're fighting tooth and nail in Sky pay-per-view on to deliver big fights sometimes. Sometimes we've delivered them, sometimes we've missed them. This gives us a substantial amount more strength. The only difference, again, I'll reiterate, between what we would be able to do as a pay-per-view event and what Matchroom would be able to do with a pay-per-view event is one channel number. There's no other difference. In terms of being a Boxnation customer, now, our Boxnation customers, they're incredibly valuable to us, and we appreciate the fact that they've supported this channel whilst we've been growing it. We hope they continue to stay with us. What I can't say at the moment is how the logistics will work out. But what I can absolutely guarantee is that they won't be out of pocket. They will not have to pay over what they're paying for their subscription for these events. They may have to pay out to their Sky bill additionally, and then be partially or reimbursed fully by Boxnation, or receive a month for free. But what I can guarantee is they will not be out of pocket. It's very important that I get that across, because we don't want people to think that we're going to ask them to pay twice for events or anything like that. If you're a Boxnation customer, you will get these pay-per-views in some form or a way or another as part of what you usually pay.
Okay, that's quite an answer. Some questions. First of all, let's just go back to Eddie Hearn's interview from Monday. According to yourselves, did Eddie Hearn say anything in that interview which you deem to be incorrect in relation to Sky Sports box office and pay-per-view?
No, he didn't this time, because he's obviously been told from upstairs. You know, when I said this a couple of weeks ago, if you remember, you've got all these tweets here and you go through them. You've got that list of, I'll read a couple off on the dates he said. He said in February, we and Sky are exclusive. PPV is only on Sky. Barry Hearn on the 8th of April. Our fighters have Sky an exclusive pay-per-view. We deliver the most money. End of. Eddie Hearn, April 21st, referring to Frampton. He can't get on pay-per-view without us. Barry Hearn on the 17th of December. For the last time, we're exclusive to Sky and they're exclusive to us. Eddie Hearn on the 17th of December. We have exclusivity for pay-per-view in the UK and Ireland. But when his last interview, when obviously somebody upstairs has told him, listen, you don't have that. What you have is the exclusive deal with Sky Sports, which you can do pay-per-view fights, but you don't have the exclusivity for boxing on Sky TV. Other channels can deal, and that's exactly what they've been doing, you know, including me, obviously, but George is the CEO of the channel. He and Gareth have been in negotiations for all these months. We sort of alluded to it a few times with you. This is rubbish. I'm telling you it's rubbish, and you've seen a couple of emails that have obviously confirmed that. He's a liar. And what he's done, he puts a lot, it's typical, you know, Matchroom stuff. They put a few statements out, and they put statements out about the same thing. And they keep throwing it out there, all different, all bits and pieces and different, and people start believing it. And fighters believe it. You know, you get fighters thinking, well, the only way I can get on pay-per-view, I've got to fight in a Matchroom show. We know that's a lie. Always has been a lie. And we proved it. And we worked hard. And at the moment now, we're negotiating the commercial terms for the dates that have been offered to us. And that'll be the first of many. And again, I'll reiterate from George's, what George said, Boxnation customers, it will not affect the way they're subscribing. They will still see the fights, and we'll work out the details of that nearer when we get the date on. But fighters a lot of fighters jumped ship because they were told this. They felt that was what was going to happen. The only way we can get big purses is to go on pay-per-view. And I get that, and I understand that. But it was a lie. And they lied all the way through. And now they've been found out. They've been 100% found out. I've seen all the stuff that Peter Fury's been saying, Mick Hennessy's been saying. I don't know the ins and outs of it, but they do not have. Matchroom does not have exclusive rights for pay-per-view boxing on Sky TV. They have an exclusivity with Sky Sports for their boxing. That's the end of it.
So George, Sky Sports, Sky Box Office has Sky Sports Box Office, Sky Movies and Sky 3D. Are you saying that if you were to launch your own event, that it would come under, say, that Sky Box Office banner?
It would be retailed by Sky Box Office, and what that means is in a very similar way that they'll purchase movies, for example. You know, I'm sure they do the next James Bond one, for example, on Box Office. They'll make a commercial decision to buy a particular film and put it on Sky Box Office, and then they will choose to put that on Sky Movies Box Office. Now, Sky Sports, as a broadcaster, can go to Sky Distribution, who own the functionality and the customers that can access Sky Box Office. They can go to them with an event, and, you know, off the top of my head, the most recent one was Dillian White, Anthony Joshua. And if they go to them with that event and Sky Distribution decide that they want to put it on, it becomes a Sky Sports Box Office event. it would be in exactly the same way that we would do it. As a Boxnation, as a channel, can go and deal with Sky distribution, which we've done, and negotiate terms for a box office date that will sit with Sky box office, but it will appear as a Boxnation event. On TV, on screen, it will be our presenters, it will be produced by us, it'll be our fighters, but the difference is from where we've been as a business, and the key thing for us in terms of being able to grow this channel, I'm sure most boxing fans that are watching this in this country want to see this channel keep prospering. I think off the top of my head, we've done 66 live shows this year, which is pretty incredible when you think about where we've come from in the last 4 years. They want to see this channel grow just as much as we do, and this is an integral part of that strategy to be able to do that, because it allows us to access customers, as I say, on that instant purchase process, which is something that we've not had available to us, and what's been told, in my opinion, distorted in the marketplace incorrectly to fighters and to fans as something that is exclusive to Matchroom as a promoter, and it's false.
You seem to be brought up better than me. I'll just call it a lie, because that's what it is. But the facts of life is, it's now a level playing field. That's what this brings. This is now a level playing field. We worked very hard. We went up at the end of the year with 3 world champions and many other young guys who are on the cusp of going on to some big things. But this now is a level playing field. They had an advantage, but the advantage was because of a lie. A bit like what I told Ricky Burns. Remember when Ricky Burns left? I've seen Warren's contracts with Ricky Burns. My lawyers have seen it, and he doesn't have. He's not got a leg to stand. In their opinion, it's a dead contract. In the meantime, Ricky Burns has gone bankrupt because of that advice that he received from Eddie Hearn. And actually, it was Eddie Hearn's lawyers, or Matchroom's lawyers, that represented Ricky Burns. And if I was Ricky Burns now, with the benefit of hindsight, I'd look back now and say, was there a conflict of interest? I'm not saying there is, but I would want to know that question, and I might want to go and get independent advice from an independent lawyer and look at that and make a decision and let them see what they say and make a decision whether all the statements that were made to him were correct. Because I know for a fact that Eddie Hearn lawyers did not see that contract because they wrote to us, said they never see the contract. So, it's another lie, but that's where it is. But the bottom line of this is, parking all that up now, I've been in this business for many, many years. You have your ups and your downs and whatever. All I ever want is a level playing field. And we now have, in 2016, a level playing field. We can now deliver. We deliver our big fights anyway, but we can also now deliver the extra special pay-per-view event, which will be at no additional cost to our subscriber when that takes place. So this is great news for the sport. It's great news for the boxers. It's more important. It's great news for the customers that they can have access. They can press their red button and watch some of these fights, and everybody should be delighted.
George, so let's just talk about a potential pay-per-view event for you next year. Could that event be promoted across Sky Sports?
Could it be? Yeah. Absolutely. We could buy the avatar. Again, getting back to this integrated platform that Sky are, that Ofcom regulate, each area of their business has to be handled separately. So again, Sky Sports can't dictate what Sky market. They can't dictate, just as much as Sky Retail or Sky Commercial can't dictate to Sky Sports what sports events they can sell. For example, we as a channel, we are retailed in commercial premises by Sky Retail. Sky Commercial do that for us. So they retail us into pubs and clubs. Now, they've marketed to us. They've marketed our events previously when they've been retailing. Of course they did, because they make money out of it. They take a revenue share off of that. Just in a similar way that they take a revenue share out of a Sky Sports box office event, they would be taking a revenue share out of a box office event that we would do with them. So I would imagine, without getting, we're currently in negotiations, I'm not going to divulge too far into where we are in those, but it would be in their commercial interest, clearly, to market the event. Now, I think that the other couple of things I would add on that is that I hear a lot of people talk about this the ability of cross promotion on Sky Sports, and they do a tremendous job, and they did a very good job on the Dillian White Anthony Joshua fight. Build it up, got it a lot of exposure, got a lot of people talking about it, and that was great. But in all reality, that fight needed building up because it was two guys that potentially, and I think a lot of people would agree, probably weren't ready to be headlining a pay-per-view event. So that needed building up. We're not talking about events like that. We're talking about the events that we can't monetize appropriately currently on the channel. We're talking about taking advantage of technology that's been available to us, that we've now since had confirmed to us in writing that we can take advantage of as early as 2016. We're talking about doing substantial events and turning them into big pay-per-view events where we can bring in hundreds of thousands, potentially 1 million customers in a night.
So obviously we'll have to wait until next year. I'm assuming right this moment that potentially for next year you haven't got something, or you may have something potentially lined up for that date.
There's various things on the table at the minute, but in terms of what type of event are we thinking for the first one, we want it to be successful. Sky will want it to be successful. We're not talking about putting British title fights on a pay-per-view. I can assure you of that. It's going to be world championship fights, whether that's many on one night or one significantly substantial one. Pay-per-view boxers that deserve to be on pay-per-view. They're the ones that we're interested in putting on. Now, the only thing I wanted to add on this Sky Sports exclusivity, and touched on it quickly about the Peter Fury thing. It's not for us to get into that. All I would say is that if you don't want to deal with that, if that is a blocking people from allowing them access to pay-per-view, come and talk to us, because the only difference again is the channel number. There's no difference. The customer access is the same. The ability to purchase is exactly the same, and that's where we are.
And this is not a Queensbury deal, or my deal. This is it's Boxnation that have this. So just to understand, it's Boxnation because they're on a TV platform. It's them. It's not a promoter. So a promoter, from what I understand, can't go and do that, but a TV company, i.e. Boxnation, can.
George, can you tell me the difference between what you're talking about and something like when Primetime done pay-per-view?
The ability, Primetime weren't retailed by Sky Box Office. It wasn't a Sky Box Office event. That's the difference. What Primetime offered is similar to what we have now. We don't utilise our pay-per-view technology. I think our price is currently set at £30, and it's used purely for a marketing perspective. It was also quite a frugal way for us as a fledgling channel to take advantage of HD. Now take out an HD channel is obviously very expensive. Because it isn't a full-time HD channel, it is a live TV channel, therefore a pay-per-view channel. Because we have that set up, we can currently sell pay-per-view, but you can't do it with your red button, because if you're a new customer, we have to obviously take that information from you. Sky have customers, they have 12 million of them, 10 to 12 depending on who you hear it from, but let's go with 12. They have those 12 million customers information already. That is the difference. They would be able to purchase that event that we put on with Sky in a retail agreement for a box office event via their red button.
Obviously, listen, I know we're going to be talking about this for the next however long until probably you've had your first one with what you're talking about. But from a marketing point of view, differences between the way you're doing it and the way Sky Sports would do a pay-per-view?
Well, we will take advertising out, same as we're doing when we've got an event on. There'll be advertising in the newspapers. We'll buy advertising time in between events to publicise the events. We will market it. Let me tell you something. I did the very first pay-per-view in the country. I brought pay-per-view to boxing, done the big pay-per-view boxing on Sky, started it off. So I don't know nobody tell me how to market an event. That's what we do. And I know it's a seasonal time of year and that in pantomime time. What Pinocchio's been saying, we've been doing it for forever.
Yeah, no, I was listen, I wasn't obviously suggesting that you don't know how to market a pay-per-view. I was asking about the difference between how they would market and where you are.
Are they going to run? Are they going to run it in their repeat 30-minute schedule on Sky Sports News that is coming up? I don't know. I doubt it. I don't know if they'll do it for the first one. It depends on the event. But the important thing that everyone's got to remember here is Sky are a business. Of course they are. They're one of the most successful businesses in this country. They're a huge player in the market, the most dominant market in subscription television in the UK. Their business is to make money. This event that we run with them will make them money, just like it will do it. So it's in their interest to promote it.
That's why they did the Mayweather fight. Why did they buy the Mayweather fight? They did it because it was a big event and it made money. They're commercial. They didn't do that deal through Hearn. It was dealt direct. I mean, that's the business they're in. Why did they run the Klitschko and Fury fight? Because that's what they did. So let's cut all the way. Those deals, by the way, were done with Sky Sports, not directly with the commercial. We're dealing direct with Sky Commercial.
Well, Sky Distribution. I'll get his facts right.
That's all right. Never let facts get in the way of a good story. Sorry.
So just finally, I'm assuming that will you use this as a test with your first event to see how it's perceived and how well it goes before you sort of commit to further pay-per-view dates?
Well, I'm sure that will be the case, but that's the business we're in, producing big events and monetising those events and delivering them to the fans, and obviously the boxers want to get well paid for what they're doing. We'll do as many as we're not going to do 8 a year. We're not going to do 5 a year. We may not even do 4 a year. We'll probably be doing something like 2 or 3 a year to start with, because we can saturate the market. And let's be really honest, how many events are actually pay-per-view events? You can manufacture these things and throw, as you talk about marketing, throw all this money and turn them into an event. But you've got to step back, look at what's happening, what the title, what they're fighting for, and etc., and decide, whether that's value for money. We will be delivering, certainly for the first one. And I think me long enough. We're not going to go in there and put on a British title fight, are we? It's going to be something that's going to be very significant. It'll probably take place in a football stadium. And we've got a number of events that we're looking at the moment, so that's where we are, and that's how we intend to launch this, and work very hard to make it a success for the benefit of Boxnation, for our promotional business, for the boxers, and for the public, and ultimately for Sky Distribution.
The only thing I would add to that is you've got to remember again, Sky are a commercial entity that is regulated by Ofcom. They're obliged to look at all deals on a wholly commercial basis. They cannot show favouritism, not even to their own broadcast channels. They're not allowed because it's a regulated industry. So what that in effect means is that us as a broadcaster and Sky Sports as a broadcaster, if we go to them with an event that is deemed better than what Sky Sports go to them with an event, they would go with the event that we are going to them with. So in effect, what this means is that boxing's going to improve on the whole. It just ups the competition. So it's better for boxing fans, it's better for the customers because there's more choice, and that's the important thing. This is what it allows us to do. It allows us to compete and offer customers choice. To access our first official box office event that we will do with Sky next year, that we are currently in commercial negotiations with to do, to access that event via your remote control in the same way that you could have accessed Dillian White and Anthony Joshua is via your remote control. It will be in exactly the way. That will be available to all customers on Sky that have a Sky box. So the 10, 12 million customers that can access that. That's how you get the big pay-per-view numbers, because it is that instant. Everyone watching this knows what it's like. Blokes have gone down the pub, they've had a couple of drinks, their mates are back. Oh, the boxing's on. Should we watch it? What are you going to do? You'd rather flick your remote control. That's an easier way to get someone to purchase an event than it is for us that we've had to do since we've got to this point with Sky.
To generate new customers.
Is going to a second screen on your laptop, filling out your details, etc., etc.
It's exactly the same. So if you watch the last fight, was it Dylan White and whatever, you sit home and watch that, you press the red button, that's how you watch it. What we've got so you understand this, what we have got is exactly the same as what Matchroom have been dealing with as far as Sky is concerned. We will have the ability to have the pay-per-view instant access to the 12 million customers on the red button.
And in regards to Boxnation subscribers, is it still sort of undecided about, in relation to them who pay the £12 a month, how that will be dealt with as regards to pay-per-view? I know you said that...
Well, they won't be out of pocket.
No.
They're not going to be out of pocket. We will deal with that. And I got my word on it, and as much as I can say, we will make sure that it will not cost them extra money. That's what it is.
I think the only thing that I would add on that is it's Sky that will end up setting that retail price, as they already do for Sky Sports box office events. And when that retail price has been negotiated for and set, that price is set. Boxnation customers will likely have to purchase the event and pay full for that, but there will be a way that they will be compensated by us.
And obviously, whose ultimate decision is it whether an event is pay-per-view? Obviously, is it Ofcom, is it Sky, or is it you?
It's Sky distribution. It's exactly the same people that deem what Sky Sports are allowed to do on their box office channel. So exactly the same way the way that conversation has to happen internally at Sky Sports are proposed an event by Matchroom. I'm sure that they will discuss what that event looks like. They will then deem whether or not it's worthwhile going to Sky Distribution to discuss whether it can go on Sky Box Office. If Sky Distribution wish to do that, they do it. And our process will be exactly the same. That's what we are currently in that process for an event next year.
One more thing. I apologise if you've already mentioned this, but I'm just thinking of something. If there's an instance where Sky Sports box office are running a pay-per-view on the same date as you...
That's not going to happen.
No? Why? Because you won't allow that to happen?
No, they won't do it. Why would you do two events on the same day? It just won't happen. That's not going to happen. We wouldn't do that. Why would anyone? But more importantly, they won't do it. They've got to find dates that are available to fit into their calendar. They have existing events. They don't just do boxing. They do wrestling. They've got a couple other events that they do on the Sky box office. So it just had to fit in with the calendar.
And sorry, George, I'm just thinking. And where does this leave TalkTalk customers, Virgin, etc., etc., Freeview? Where does it leave those customers?
Okay, so if we when we do this date with Sky Box Office has a platform on Virgin, so those Virgin customers would be able to access that content. Off the top of my head, I don't know if it's available on TalkTalk, but there's certainly ways round that we will be able to offer people on other platforms the content that we're putting on. Let's not forget we've obviously got our own streaming service online as well. There's various moving parts. This is all what we're doing at the moment. Well, not at the moment. I'm taking the rest of the week off. I'm sure everyone else is. But when we get back after the holidays, this is what we're picking up with Sky. They're excited to hear what we've got planned. We're very excited to be working with them, and onwards and upwards. It's great for us. It's great for the channel, and most importantly, what it's going to mean is it's going to mean more money available to Boxnation to invest back into that substantial schedule of events that we put on.
Okay. Unless any of you two have anything else to add, George, I'll relieve you of your duties. Merry Christmas, and we'll catch up with you soon. All right, join me in part 2, where I'm going to do another interview with Mr. Warren.
Good. Part 2.